It's still a ceremony. Thank you, Wahpeton Dakota Singers. I'd also like to recognize Grand Chief David Gamble of the Saskatchewan First Nations Veterans Association, as well as Chief Bart Tisani of Hatchet Lake Denisovan Nation. Okay, with that, I'd like to call upon Chief Wally Burns. And Chief Wally Burns is from James Smith Cree Nation.
Where to begin or where to start? I've been thinking for the past few days, no words can emphasize the feelings that we're going through. There are a lot of us, the families, the membership, that are seeking help. There's a lot of emotions right now. No words can express anything on the things that happen. There are a lot of things that occurred in the past little while, stories that are out there. I commend the families that are here. Courage, the love, we ask all of yous to come together with prayers and thoughts. I'm trying to hold myself together with the words that need to come out. We ask three things from the governments.
Yes.
We ask that we have our own tribal policing. We ask for awareness in addictions. We ask for treatment centers so things wouldn't happen like this to any nations around the world. We don't wish this upon anybody. You know, I've been thinking, and today was the day supposed to be at 10 o'clock but moved to 11 for this conference call. Today we found out the monarch that served Canada has passed. She wrote a letter to James Smith Cree Nation on behalf of the monarch, expressing the condolences to the families, the friends, to the community, and to the rest of the world. I'd like to thank the Prime Minister of Canada for taking time to speak to us, his ministers, and also the other governments of level of governments. I'd like to thank the Premier for coming. I'd like to thank everybody that's here. But this is not why we're here. We are here for the families, to support them in time of need. My nephews lost their father, my best friend. My family on the left lost their sister. These acts of violence have to stop, and they have to stop now. With the way that the world's going now, I think it takes a whole community to back and support the youth. Our elders, our community members. I got a lot of calls yesterday from different chiefs from all over Canada, expressing their condolences to the family. I commend Chief Clarence Louis for reaching out. I commend those other chiefs that came into the community yesterday to visit the families. I'd like to thank our team, the team that was set up. Without them, I think we'd be scattered all over the place. Bringing us back to a circle, making us understand we're here for them. We're here to make them heal. We got to collect all the resources that we can to help them heal. We got to protect our community. Fight against drugs and alcohol. I'd like to thank those communities far and wide, different countries, nations, that express their condolences to the family. I'd like to thank our warriors that are here today, making sure we're safe. I'd like to thank the sweat lodge keepers, the knowledge keepers that are here, helping in our own customary way. I thank our singers that gave us the honor song. I thank the people behind the scenes, making sure everybody is safe. And most of all, I thank the RCMP, working with them all hours of the night, asking for reports, updates. Without them and the help, this guy wouldn't have been caught. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And there's no words to express or close off my words. Just with a heavy heart. But we all have to come together as a community, as Canadians, as a whole. So in closing, God bless you all, and thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, our council, Councillor Justin Burns, Gerald Mackay, Debbie McLean, and Vice Chief Alvin Mustus. So with that, I thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Chief Burns. Next, I'll call up Chief Calvin Sanderson of the Chakastay Basin First Nation.
Hello. Oikenes naskop na kakio. Ja petukko pai kakio niente far and wide. Kateak, our elders, Uskaiwak, Uskaiwak, Uskapiwak, Uskapiwak. Our helpers, our lodges, our elders, for lifting up the pipes far and near, for this young fella that's holding my bonnet today. He dances in our powwows, in our traditional regalias. So many of our membership that we lost. Affected me too. My relatives, my nephew and nieces. And we're having a hard time here. For all the help, the well wishes coming far and near, Puhite, all over. To our visitors, to all the condolences to the families, and the ones that are in the hospitals. Our command center, the emergency response teams. Thanks for keeping our community safe. And our command center for looking after our membership, the hotels in Saskatchewan, Prince Albert, and the ones that fled our community for their safety. You helped us lots from your heart for all the donations that you have given us. It'll take a while for our community to heal. And we're starting that process today. As you can see, so many tents around here in our teepees. The fires that were lit for their families will be soon put out when we are done our grieving and saying our farewell. It's windy. They're here with us. Very strong wind. They come here. And our smudging, our elders that help us heal too as leaders. our leaders will need that help too. They're having a hard time. I'd just like to thank all the provincial and federal governments for all the response they gave us. Our community will take a while for us to heal. Our teepees will not come down until we reach every one of our family members, our relatives, our relatives, our reverend, all our reverends that are coming far and near to help us here. We'll be having our First Holy Communion this evening, 5 o'clock. We'll be lighting our candles up after that Holy Communion. There'll be a lot of singers coming in and out, far and near, our drum groups. So be patient with us. There's supposed to be an anniversary here that we were supposed to celebrate on Monday. That happened a year ago. Forever Child Matters, that affected my family too back. Lost a niece and his partner. And a year ago, 3 years ago, we lost another incident here. These are real. This is going to be the hardest ones to heal our community. It will take some time. And I'm glad that healing process is starting in our community. Affected us all big time. And our chiefs there in Saskatchewan, with all the condolences and support they have been giving us. And I thank the media for respecting our privacy with the family members. They're having their gatherings, their wakes as we speak. And the family members that are here, my niece, my sister, they go with the Pituta Vista, my former colleagues, Guy. To my counselors, Florence, Sanderson, Derek Sanderson, Barry, Gillis, stepping up and helping. Whoever comes out there and come and help us heal here, come and help us out. You're more than welcome to come and stay in our community for how long it takes. Just very grateful that we finally have some closure here. That took a while. As a chief. God, start working on these things, not to push it underneath the rug. We're not the only ones that are impacted. As you know, it's impacting us all, whether it's in the cities, in our First Nations communities. But not let's forget about, let's get some solutions. The mandates and the commitments the provincial and the federal governments made for us, that time will come. But let's not drag it on. because our membership here too are very angry. We can make these solutions. The tragedies that maybe some other First Nations are gonna endure. Sorry how I'm speaking a little bit of Cree, but that's our language here with them. Minipawya. Ego siya naskum now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Sanderson. Next, I'd like to call up Chief Robert Head of the Peter Chapman First Nation.
First of all, I want to thank the elder for prayers this morning, the elders. I want to thank the Creator for allowing us another day in this world. And on behalf of Peter Chapman Band, we want to start off by extending our condolences to all the families here and the families in Weldon. Our deepest sympathies to each of the families on the losses that you endured and suffered. As well, our leadership here, I stand beside my Councillor Adam Whitehead and Councillor Valerie Whitehead and myself, Chief Robert Head. We represent Peter Chapman First Nation, Peter Chapman Band. I just want to remind all Canadians that First Nations people, we've been here in this country we call Canada now. We've been here tens of thousands of years before arrival of the Europeans, before the cities, before the towns, before Saskatchewan. We were here all this time, living on the land amongst our people. We have our own laws. We have our own justice system. We have our own culture, our own religion, languages all across Canada. Our people lived here. We signed treaties in the 1800s. We gave up our lands, which you call Canada now, and the provinces. And we ask you, Canadians, Canadian people, honor our treaties. Honor our treaties. Work with the government. We need help in our First Nations lands to implement our own justice system, implement our own laws, implement all the things under the Truth and Reconciliation Commission that have been outlined. If we did all of those things, our people would be good. We would be set. We wouldn't have problems like we have in our lands, underfunding, lack of housing. We wouldn't have those problems. We would be just as well off as your regular average Canadian. So I ask you to get behind the government and start implementing our Truth and Reconciliation recommendations and honor our treaties. We gave up so much so that you guys could have so much, and that's all we ask. But today's not the day for that discussion. I just wanted to start off by reminding Canadians that all of this land before you was our land. So thank you for all being here today. I just want to say to the families, the Chief of Council here, we're honored to be your leaders. We've been working diligently for years, and we still work to this day. We've lost loved ones ourselves. My first cousin passed away, and it was very hard for each and every one of us in this community, very hard for the leadership. We had to respond very quickly to help all the people, and here on the ground it was like a war zone. I gotta thank STARS. You know, they had 4 helicopters here, and they were just coming down and landing and taking people to the hospital. And they did such a good job organizing and making a command center there at the band office and helping all the injured get off to the hospital. Right now we still have 14 families that are are in the hospitals there. We have loved ones in the cities attending to their family members, and our prayers go out to them for a speedy recovery. You know, we love our people. We're very close knit here. Each and every one of these is a heartbreaking incident that nobody should ever have to go through. And it's very nice of you all to be here to hear our story, because this is something that can be avoided. We can avoid this. You know, we've heard First Nations tribal police. You know, we need First Nations justice systems. We need support for mental health. We need addiction centers. These are some of the things that we can address together. And I'm just glad that Premier Scott Moe is here, Todd Gowdy, Betty Nippy, Brandy Kobach. You know, they're all here behind us, supporting us. We're going to work together on this. We're going to fix this for our people, for all the future generations. The little ones that are up and coming, the youth, the elders will be so happy to know that this will never happen again. I'm so grateful that you guys are all here and you're all behind us on this mission. We can fix the First Nations problems of this country that we're in. So, right now, I just have to thank the RCMP. You know, they've done such hard work. A lot of the members that were on the ground here, they worked their own hours of overtime. You know, they did their shift of 8 hours, and they stayed over. They stayed at 2, 3, 4 more hours to help us. They've done so much in our community. They made our people feel safe. They did patrols and searches, and they just done everything over and above the Call of Duty, city police forces. We've had officers from Manitoba, from Saskatchewan, from Alberta. They all congregated here and they helped us through this. So our deepest thanks to each and every one of you. I wish I could give all of you a hug myself. I would, but I just wanted to thank you publicly. Our reverends, Reverend Teresa Sanderson, Reverend Wilfred Sanderson, they attended the scenes of all the incidents here. They supported the families right from the very morning that everything happened. They were at the hospitals making their rounds, checking on all the family members in the hospitals. You know, they've done so much hard work. We have the Anglican diocese here, the First Nations Anglican diocese, and they're not a funded organization. They do it out of the love for the people. They do it out of love for the people. They work harder than the Chief Council. They work harder than any of us do. They have God guiding them and giving them strength and helping them to lift up the people and support them, especially in times like this. So I just want to recognize them for all the work that they do. I wish they were here. I would give them a hug as well. We love all of our band members. We care for them deeply. And our council here, we've been attending to the home fires the chiefs have spoke about. We've sat down with the family members and talked about their needs. And many of them are just thankful to have people there with them to help them and support them, to talk to them, to hug them, to pray with them. Those are the things that we're going through right now, and that's what we're going to be doing in the future with our services, our wake services, and the funeral services to come. The worst of it is over, but now we're going to be going into the healing part, and that's going to take a long time. We're going to need a lot of support, and I just thank all the organizations that reached out for each and every one of our nations here, helped us with donations, food donations and cash donations, and support for mental health. Everything is coming that we need to get through this tragedy. It's a very heartbreaking tragedy, and I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for being behind us on this. And thank you for being here. That was it.
Thank you, Chief Ed. Next, I'd like to call up Grand Chief Brian Hardlock of the Prince Albert Grand Council.
tindige. Kita nasko mo. Mamo iko tawi no. Tragedies. I want to thank our great creator for giving us this beautiful day. Tindige, kihtiayak. I am Mr. Moyak. Thank you, elders, for the opening prayer. Kinanasko mitnan. Kinanasko mitnan, we thank you. So really, in this press conference, as the Grand Chief, I have the Vice Chief to my left and the Chief of Hadrid Lake Dene Nation to my right here to support me. And really sending the condolences to the families. The condolences to the families affected in this terrible event. Of course, our thoughts and our prayers to those families who have lost their loved ones. And the ones in the hospitals, we pray for them, for recovery. I want to also, of course, or I should say we acknowledge the James Smith Cree Nation Emergency Operations Center, which was formed under the strong leadership of the chiefs and your council members. James Smith Cree Nation, Stabbings Cree Nation, and Peter Chapman. I also, of course, want to thank the other EOC members, including various federal and also provincial governmental agencies. We acknowledge you for the hard work, dedication that was demonstrated these last few days. And also thank them for keeping you safe, keeping the members of James Smith Cree Nation safe. There is an outpouring of support locally, regionally, nationally, and also internationally. We heard the Queen give her message. We heard President Biden give his message. We heard the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister's saying that world leaders sending their condolences to this community. We acknowledge that, and we thank him for that. Of course, a special thank you to the RCMP. Brenda Lucky is here, Commissioner. Rhonda, Commissioner F Division, thank you. Thank you. Kinanasko mitnan. All the first responders that did their work for the protection again for the community of James Smith Cree Nation and also the surrounding communities. I just have to say this, bear with me. In the area of justice, I have to say this, that the criminal system again has failed the indigenous community, the people. This incident sheds light on the fractured system where the parole board has to be more transparent and to make some fundamental changes in consultations with First Nations peoples The justice system needs to work with our members, our leaders of our First Nations, and establish, in this case, a transition period for those dangerous offenders that are within the system. As we move forward, this is a call for the Attorney General, the Commissioner, and the First Nations leaders have always said this. And it is time. It is time. Our bylaws, our band council resolutions, they have to be enforced by the RCMP. They have to be. In the area of justice, the term restorative justice, we have to get back to that. That system must be the way forward. Again, we have to have those sentencing circles, those justice committees in our communities. And this can be done voluntarily. There has to be funding for that. PAGC in the area of policing. PAG with the mandate of the chiefs, they did a policing and also a justice symposium in 2019. The recommendations were made there in the area of policing, self-administered policing, and justice. Attorney General, you have those recommendations within your office. I call on you to review that. Prince Albert Grand Council, along with FSIN, and again from the mandate from the chiefs, they have been doing work in tribal policing, self-administered policing. The chiefs gave that mandate. And I remind the federal government, budget 2021 proposed to provide $43.7 million over 5 years, beginning 2021, 2022, to co-develop a legislative framework for First Nations. Coming to an end here. PAGC has been working with the federal government after the chief's mandate to develop tribal policing framework. PAGC, along with the chiefs, will be meeting with the federal government immediately to discuss how we can move forward. Prince Albert Grand Council has started this work and the roadmap was developed. In March of 2022, this year, this mandate reaffirmed through another chiefs meeting. PAGC began meeting with provincial and federal officials to begin a feasibility study. We are now waiting for that funding, for that feasibility to look at the models that are out there, Portofel, the Ontario models, the Manitoba models in tribal policing. So the work has been done. Totimitik, my friends, during these hard times, strenuous times, that our love and passion for one another is what as First Nations people defines us. There's no doubt that in the upcoming days, weeks, months will be challenging. But we will be there. We will do it, Chiefs. But to the people out there, we will be there. Reach out. to the services that are out there, that are available. And thank you, Premier, for your offer. Thank you to the federal government, Rob Harvey, Jocelyn Anderson, for what you offered to help the nations here. Iko se, tannasko mon. Nannasko mama mo iko tain, nannasko mo kihtiajak. 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 PAGC will be there for you. But as leaders, let's listen to our people. Let's listen to our people. Let's listen to our grassroots people. Let us listen to our elders. Nanaskomon. 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 Hey, hey.
Drum group. Hey, can you three of you guys replace those three boys? Just for a couple minutes. Something happened there. Hey, hey, come up here. Those three young boys, come up here. Hey! Those three young boys, come here. Come to the front. Come to the front. Okay, come on, let's go. Some of you didn't see during the honor song. We thank the drum group for the honor song. Stand right here. Stand in front of the cameras. Something significant happened here during the honor song. Those flags fell to the ground. Some of us older people went to go and lift it up, put it back on its feet, until these younger men, the youth, took over. So the James Smith people, Peter Chapman and Taga State Basin, our prayers and condolences to you and your families. To this lady that's grieving here. To the people in the hospital that we went and visited the last couple of days. The rebuilding and the healing and the grieving is going to begin with our little ones. That's what they did there. They picked up where the old people left off. To build a better life for the three First Nations. These three young men. We thank you for doing that. That was a significant thing that happened. Chief Robert Head, Chief Wally Burns, and Chief Kelvin, and your people. Again, our prayers and condolences to you as you continue to heal, continue to grieve. Grand Chief and your executive. Our veteran, Dave, for being here. Premier Scott Moe and Randy, Todd, Brenda and Rhonda. And to everyone that's here. Somewhere in First Nation country, there is a state of emergency. Right now. There's a state of emergency. And the implementation of the grassroots people, your direction to create a safer, healthier community. Well, folks, really thank you for the prayer. And let's hope that it got you so much more. For the media that's here. And all the ministers that have committed to work with First Nations right across the country. Your organization, the FSIN, has put forward a resolution to create our own First Nation Policing Association, driven from our grassroots people, our coconuts, our mushrooms, our youth, our women. We will get there one day. We hope to get there sooner rather than later, to work in conjunction with the RCMP. The eyes and ears at the ground level when the response time is not quick enough. We'll have our own on-reserve tribal police. This is what we have been pushing for several years, and we'll continue to. Our young ones deserve a better life than we have. Our young ones will live a better life than we had, a healthier life than we had. And Brenda and Rhonda, I want to call you ladies up here. It takes women to make real change in our communities in Canada. It takes women like Ali and Heather to create positive change within the organization. Rhonda and Brenda, I know your heart is in the right place. See it in your eyes and you feel it in your words. There are so many resolutions and PCRs that chief of councils right across this country have been pushing for, and we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Thank you all for listening to us, and let's continue to work together. Premier Moe has committed, and so have the ministers, the federal government. They have committed to work with First Nations leaders. The NDP, Betty Nippy, and your crew, we look forward to working with you as well. Let's all work together to create a healthier, safer community. Let's rebuild our nation in an alcohol and drug-free community. On behalf of the FSIN, our executive, the vice chiefs that are here, and Vice Chief Raw, who's not here, we wish each and every one of you safe travels home. And to our babies that depend on us to give them a better life, we're going to do it together in unity. Echo say hi hi.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Good job, boys.
Next, I'd like to call up Honorable Scott Moe, Premier of the Government of Saskatchewan.
Well, thank you very much, Tina, and a thank you to Chief Burns, to Chief Sanderson, and to Chief Head for bringing us all together here today to support the community of James Smith First Nation, but also to support the families that have experienced most tragic loss over the course of the last couple of few days now. And I bring on behalf of the government of Saskatchewan, I bring on behalf of the people from corner to corner in this province our condolences, our love, our support, and our prayers. I've talked to my colleagues, other premiers from across the nation, and they have virtually all reached out to offer their condolences and their thoughts and their prayers. And I think it's fair to say that all of Canada is with you during this very, very difficult time. Behind you are your chiefs, Chief Burns, Chief Sanderson, Chief Head, Regional Chief Brian Hardlock. Behind them are our provincial chiefs, Bobby Cameron and the FSIN. Thanks to each of them for working with not only the provincial government, but working with the federal government and other entities in collaborating to support the families that we see in the front that have experienced such loss, to support all of the folks in and around the James Smith community. Thank you for your efforts. And that collaboration that has occurred over the course of the last few days, I think starts with our men and women in uniform. Thank you to Commissioner Lucky, to Assistant Commissioner Rhonda Blackmore, to all of our provincial enforcement agencies, to the municipal enforcement agencies, to our first responders, to STARS, to all of the men and women that have been here over the course of the last number of days, working together, doing what they do to keep this community and to keep Saskatchewan residents and ultimately Canadians safe, and to provide them with the service that we needed. I just want to close with saying one more time, thank you to the regional chiefs for putting this day together. Thank you to all involved in collaborating and supporting our families. And please know that you are not finding your way through this alone. We all find our way. We're all reaching out to support you and your families through what we know is an unthinkable and senseless tragedy.
Finally, we'll have RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucky to end off with her statement.
Thank you. Thanks so much to the James Smith Cree Nation to have us here to be here during this difficult time, and it's really with a heavy heart that we stand here. The loss felt by the families, the loved ones, and the community for those whose lives were taken in this horrific event is unimaginable. And you know, I was really struck by earlier today, we were in the teepee and the elder was talking about the two sides of a heart, the anger and the healing. And you have the commitment of the RCMP that we will stand by you in healing this community and giving everything we can to give you strength and to help you through this most difficult time. The commitment of Assistant Commissioner Rhonda Blackmore and her team to work with First Nations leaders. We talked about earlier about community-led and community-driven and community-focused solutions to keeping First Nations communities safe. Working together towards solutions. We're increasing our Indigenous recruitment so that we can provide that structure, so that we can work together for a self-governed police service. This can never happen again. This senseless violence, we need to work together, and it takes bold leaders, and we've had each and every one of the bold leaders speak to us today, and it will also take the bold leadership of Rhonda and her team to work with these First Nations leaders, and you have our commitment. Once again, my deepest condolences on your loss. I can't even imagine what you're going through, and you have our commitment to work with you. Thank you.
Just a moment for the Chiefs and the MP Randy. If I can get the Chiefs up here. Thank you. The words that have been said here from our visitors, from Premier Scott Moe, our MLAs. I'm going to give this medallion to Scott Moe to keep his promise in front of you, to work with us. Let's get this healing going and the commitments that they said here in this mic. To work with our chiefs, our FSIN and our tribal chiefs. On behalf of all of our communities, Chagastepes and James Smith and Peter Chapman, our colleagues, our councillors. So if you don't mind, Premier Scott Moe, to come up here and accept this medallion and to start that work and that foundation.
At this time, we'll open the floor to questions. So we'll first take questions from the people here, and then I'll be moving back to the and then come pieces.
Good afternoon, everyone. I've been asked to share a few words. I'm here to honor my sister. My sister was a member of the community response team, and she responded to a call that morning. The community response team, one of our rules is you don't go alone. You don't go alone. She went alone that morning because a friend needed her help. And that's the kind of person my sister was. Whoever needed help, she would go. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. It's time to make changes in our community. Sir John A. MacDonald wrote, and I don't have his direct quote, but he wrote that we have to take the children out of the community and educate them. Because if we don't, they are just savages that can read and write. Well, he was wrong. He was wrong. We're not savages. We're not savages. The savages came over on the boat. The savages came over on the ship. The savages were the one that gave our people blankets with smallpox. The savages were the ones in the residential schools that abused and murdered our children. The savages were the ones that came over on the boat. Not us. Not us. Who are we as people? Who are we as people? We're standing here talking about forgiveness. I have a young lady here. Her husband was one of the accused. Her husband was accused of killing my sister. Our family is here to forgive. This woman shouldn't have to bear that kind of guilt and shame and responsibility. When I spoke to the media the first day, I spoke about her husband. And I spoke about how he was always a very respectable young man. I didn't know any of the circumstances, but I knew him. So when we talk about forgiveness, as a community, she sat in the gym by herself. And I went and talked to her. And I told her part of forgiveness is accepting the forgiveness of our community. Our community wants to forgive her. Now it's up to her to accept that forgiveness from us. So I thank her for her courage. Who are we as people? We talk about the every child matters. We talk about the children that are found. And out of us, we said, every child matters. We didn't say every Indian child. We didn't say every black child. We didn't say every white child. We said every child matters. That's us. As Indians, we're not savages.
We're not savages. That's who we are as people. We're forgiving, loving people. That is in our DNA. They tried to force that out of us, but they couldn't. They couldn't. And now we're standing here together. I also got a message to our leaders. And not only our leaders, but every man, woman, and here, every father, every mother, grandmother, grandfather, Chapanak. We are all leaders. We are all leaders of our families. And as leaders, we can lead our families into darkness. We can lead our family into addictions and violence. Or we can lead them into the sunlight, into happiness, into a safe home. And it is our duty as Native people to lead our children into a positive lifestyle, where our community is safe, where there is no more addictions, no more suffering. This tragedy didn't have to happen. It didn't have to happen, but it did. Our leaders, I challenge you. We talk about we need treatment centers. Yes, we do. We need a long-term treatment center for crystal meth, for all the hard drugs, a long-term one. And I challenge our leaders to lead our people into those treatment centers. Lead our people into the sunlight, into happiness, into safe communities. Enough of leading our people into the darkness. Enough of leading our people into the bars and the casinos. Enough of leading our people into addictions and tragedies such as this. We are all responsible. We are all responsible. I had to speak up. I have to be vocal. Because in 2 weeks' time, the cameras are going to be shut off. The politicians are going to go home. And what's going to happen to us? Our premier is behind me, listening. Is he going to fulfill his promises? Or is it going to be like the treaties, where they forget us again? Where they forget us again? We are second-class citizens in our homeland. Every system that is out there is a two-tiered system. The justice system, the education system, everything. Everything is a two-tiered system against us. And it's time to change that. They ask us what we want. We want equality. We want equality in our own land. Treat us like human beings. Treat us with dignity and respect. That's what we need. We lost a lot of good people in our community. And we're going to mourn for a lot of years. I talk about being forgotten. And I heard it mentioned here about the Humboldt Broncos. And how the Canada came together for Humboldt. But yet, I passed a monument over there going to Archdipowin. And it's pathetic. It's pathetic. Everything that was put down there the time of the tragedy is still there. And it's rotting. It's rotting. Is that what's going to happen to us? Are we going to forget? I think as a community we have to get together and make a plan on how these people are never forgotten. how these our community members, our loved ones, are never forgotten. And if we never forget them, maybe this will never happen again. This is something that my sister worked towards her whole life. We come from this community. We live the same problems as everyone else. And because of our Indian DNA, we found a better way. And we tried to share that. And my sister paid the ultimate price. And Damien was caught up in the life. He was caught up in a moment. But hearing the stories of Damien, he tried to stop it. He tried to stop it. And he paid with his life.
All of us are going to be everybody's going to be
It's so true, that's true. I lost my husband and my dad too.
Ah.
That's not my husband.
So a tragedy like this, let's learn from it. Let's take strength and courage. And let's move on. Let's build a safer community. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
Yep.
Good afternoon. On behalf of my family, the children of Christian Head, I just come here to personally thank the RCMP, all of them, every single one of them. They left their families behind to come and help us. And to help us grieve. We can finally grieve. A lot of people were chased out of their houses in our community, scared. Even with the cops around, we still didn't feel safe. Every little bang, we'd wake up scared. And I always thought of them driving around, sitting in the dark, wherever. But I come here to personally thank them from my family, my sister's family, my brothers. My family has been hit hard, every single one of us. My nieces and nephews, my uncles and aunties, the whole community. We're all hurt. And as a big brother, I'm trying to be here, I'm trying to be there, try to be everywhere. don't know how to mourn. I barely cry. I don't know how to cry. But I just want everybody to know we need everybody. We need everything. It's been the hardest few days of my life. But today we take our first step forward. I want to thank our leadership for everything they come and done so far, and yet they're gonna do more, and I trust them. I know they will do the best they can for everyone in our community. Anything else? With that, thank you.
It's my brother Martin. My brother lost his baby boy, and there's no words to express on what he feels today. It's very hard to say what's his thinking about. I asked if he wanted to say a few words. He said no. So I'm going to speak for him on behalf of my brother, my siblings, also the grandparents, Kelly and Ida, the mother, Carol Burns, and the family. Today is another journey of our lives where we have to forgive. And I know that, the Creator has something for us. So with all sympathy and respects of us and the guidance from the Creator, we thank you all from the bottom of our heart. And God bless you all. Yesterday I got a call from Chief Clarence Louis, and he said three words to me. And those 3 words I really thought about. And he said, we must move on. Meaning, don't forget the elders, the youth. Work towards for a betterment of the community and for them, and a future for them. Build building blocks. It's like what Daryl said. We have to come together. This is not gonna stop. We're gonna keep pushing. We gotta push until we're all heard from this community. I know other countries are listening. With all of the things that are happening around the world, things like this, It shouldn't be like this. We need to come together and tackle this drug situation in our community. The alcohol. We need to come together as a family, as a collective, and as a nation from Canada. I'd like to say on behalf of my brother, Martin, it was a sad moment when I got a call saying that Thomas was gone, Carol was gone, Gloria was gone, Christian, our veteran, Earl Burns, Bobby, you know, there's a lot of things that want to come out, but I just can't express it because all the pain right here, we're broken. There was a lot of talks in regards to the residential school, on how it impacted us. It did impact us. How to take the Indian out of us. They just about succeeded, taking away our ceremonies. I'm very happy for some of the traditional people that are here, the knowledge keepers, the medicine men and ladies. So I'd just like to say thank you from Martin and his little family. So with that, that's it.
Chief Wally Burns would be willing to speak about the benefits of on-reserve policing and why we believe it's necessary.
Question?
Benefits of on-reserve policing and why we think it's necessary.
I'd like to ask Chief Cameron and Grand Chief Hardlot to come up too as well. The reason why that we are pushing tribal policing is things like this shouldn't happen to any community. The benefits of this would be trust, love. We can go gather. Not scared out of our wits when things happen like this. It shouldn't be like this. It should be where We trust our neighbors, our friends, our communities, the surrounding areas, the cities. So when we elaborate more on tribal policing, it's a benefit for this community, other communities. So it's not just us, it's the surrounding area in Turtle Island. These are the benefits. Look at the justice system. Did the justice system work for us? It didn't work for us. Look at what's happening today. Things shouldn't be like this. But I gotta make it loud and clear that we need our own tribal policing, our own judicial system, our own laws, so we can create our own BCRs, so we can collect our elders, have our own circling, our sentencing circle. These are the things that's, coming from us as First Nations people. And we have to make it loud and clear that, we mean business. We gotta protect our people. We gotta protect them because no people in Canada shouldn't be scared to go from here to there. But I'm very happy the RCMP are here. They're working as a collective too. They're working as a collective where when we signed treaties, they were there when we signed treaties. So I think now, looking at it in a different perspective, I think we got to create our own mechanism. Work hand in hand with the RCMP, with this tribal policing. Create our own judicial system. Our laws, our Indian laws, that won't conflict with the federal government. I got Grand Chief here that can explain too as well on why tribal policing for all nations is a benefit. I got Grand Chief Bobby Cameron to explain more on the process that needs to happen.
I think the question was what are the benefits for First Nations and elements the tribal policing. I think the question came from over there. For example, James Smith here and many other First Nations out there, they don't have detachment. They don't have detachments. And the response time, sorry for chuckling there, but a lot of the times members make a call to some of the detachment. Their call goes all the way to Regina. So just imagine the response time on that. There are models out there where they have peacekeepers. They have community safety officers. Some communities just call them community security guards. These are models that work with the RCMP today to make the communities safe. Part of the feasibility that the Prince Albert Grand Council will be working on is community safety plans. That's part of the feasibility. And I think our Prince Albert Grand Council, Edward Morasti, and also Vince Britton, who's from this community, who's doing that work. There are models, many models, whatever they call them, tribal policing, First Nations policing, self-administered policing. It's the same thing. There is only one model in Saskatchewan, and that's Fort Capel, File Hills, Manitoba. All the communities, many of the communities have their police services. Ontario, Alberta. So it's important, it'll benefit the First Nations in situations. The RCMP will still be there. And I really want to thank the Indigenous Police unit. Brian, Cliff, thank you for the work. They'll still be there. They'll still be there. But the benefits of self-administered policing, there'll be many, many benefits. The communities will feel safe. I just want to give the microphone to Chief Cameron.
Thank you, Grand Chief Hartlot. Really quick, the eyes and ears at the ground level, at the First Nation level, the response time, the solutions would come directly from each First Nation and their membership. A committee to be established within each First Nation to drive how this First Nation Policing Association would be implemented and what it would look like. Of course, politically, we'd have to do our work with the federal government, the provincial government, and others to get this fully funded. The chiefs, your organization, the FSIN, is the only organization in Canada to bring this forward. And we're proud of that fact. For many leaders before us, it was a big component when they signed treaty that justice would be a guarantee, where each First Nation would be safe, secure, and a peaceful community. This was under treaty and guaranteed to us as treaty. When will it be implemented? We hope sooner rather than later. There are, as we said earlier, states of emergency as we speak in First Nation community. From the north, east, west, south, here in our traditional territories and right across this country, coast to coast to coast. It is needed now, and it was needed yesterday. So that is our work politically to get this supported from both the provincial and federal governments. We can do it. First Nation people across our traditional lands, we're a force to be reckoned with. We're a powerful voice because we're the only group who have inherent and treaty rights. And those are of international law. Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Omar Mosley. I'm a reporter with the Toronto Star. Thanks for having us today. My question is for Chief Wally Burns or any family members that are affected and who want to speak to this. The RCMP said yesterday there are some questions we'll never have the answers to. I'm curious how you think that might affect the ability for the community to find closure and to find healing, and how it feels knowing that this won't go to trial because the suspect is not deceased.
Just out of the respect of the families, I'd just like to say you have a good question. A question that remains answered. But out of the respect of the families, I gotta ask that question before I release any information. With the information that's still being ongoing, an investigation, we can't hinder any kind of process right now. Thank you.
wondering if you can speak to us about the feasibility study about Indigenous policing, discuss timelines and expectations, that sort of thing.
Thank you very much for the question regarding the feasibility, the study. Like I mentioned, our technicians, along with the other consultants that have worked in establishing a self-administered police forces in our province here and other provinces. It's part of the process. It's part of the process. We have to make sure, of course, that the work is done. That the very first thing, I guess, is that the First Nations, that there has to be consultation, and the First Nations of a community have to agree upon that this is what they want. That would be the very first thing that in a feasibility. And of course, part of the feasibility is looking at funding and looking at and studying, of course, the population of the communities, and looking at the young people that can become officers and sending them off to policing academies. But we as leaders, we as educators, and guidance counselors in our band control schools, we have to guide our students, our high school students, for that opportunity to get into the career of law enforcement. We encourage that. And I really think, again, the Indigenous Police Unit, what they are doing, that's what they're doing in many of our communities. They go to the communities, they set up a white top in there, and the young people go there. And they talk to the police officers, and what's the process in becoming a police officer. So we, as leaders, we really encourage that. Many First Nations, Indigenous, Aboriginal police officers have retired. Many are still there, but we need those young people. This will be something that they will get into, and those are the young people that we need in the future to be the officers of self-administered police forces.
Good afternoon. One of the things that we have to make certain here when it comes to dealing with any kind of questions like that, the system itself is broken. We've said this many times that this could have been avoided. With this statement has been echoed this past few days on the broken system that we have for Aboriginal people. The parole board let this young fellow out, this young man, and they didn't notify any of our community members or our leadership or even our local detachment. All that we knew was that
after the fact. This tragedy could have been avoided. All these things that are happening right now within the judicial system are second class to our people. All the information that we get is second hand. When something as serious as this happens, we should have been notified right away. All of this, like I said, could have been avoided. But now it's time for, like I said, it's time for our people to learn from this. Our whole system, not only us, the province, our Canadian government are going to be learning from this tragedy. But it shouldn't take a tragedy like this in order to change things. We have a path that we have to follow now. But with help from local leaders and from provincial governments and federal governments coming together at the same table, we can make these positive changes for not only for our people, but for everybody. So hopefully that answers your question. Tina?
Can't hear you.
I wonder if you talk about that healing journey that's beginning, and I'm wondering what that looks like for young people, children in the community. What kind of support are you looking for, and how can government help?
Is that about healing?
Healing, yeah, young people.
Thank you for that question, and first of all I want to acknowledge our Creator and thank you to the prayers, the families going through this time, the ones in the hospital, and of course this is a watershed moment for our people, for James Smith, for the country. And you talk about the healing journey. I think we've not yet realized the full impact of how this tragedy has come to be. And when it comes to healing, we know that you have elders here, you have lodges here, you have churches here, and you have great teachings here. And it's my prayer that the government, both federally and provincially, recognize that our people know what they need to heal. And it's time to start listening. It's very sad and unfortunate that bloodshed had to happen this way. We've been calling for centers, mental health capacity. We've been calling for beds for drug and alcohol centers. The problem is we're policyed out of getting help. Those ones that are asking for help, crying for help, they have to be phoning every day to a detox center. We need immediate response to any First Nations, anyone that needs addictions support. They can't wait. So the government is here today, and there's things that we can do right now within our policies. Health, we need better care. And my friends at Healing Journey, James Smith is going to take that first step, grieving process. We need to ensure they have the mental health therapists there for them. We need First Nations elders supporting them. We need ceremony. They know what they need, and they'll determine what works for them. PAGC, they've done a lot in the name of addictions, but we have First Nations right now who have centers ready to serve our people in the area of addictions. They need capacity right now. We could start right now. But like I say, we need substantial funding from government to make substantial change, because that's what we need. So it's sad today that bloodshed had to happen this way. And it's my prayer for James Smith that they remain vigilant, calm, strong. And like I say, they have to move through this grief. You can't go around it. And we're here for you. Other nations are here for you. And we'll be looking to other officials. We'll be looking to other officials to determine the path that they want, that they need. And in the days ahead, you know, we look to, you know, other communities coming in and providing supports, other First Nations, other responders. And let's be kind to one another. You know, in these days, our people are hurting. So all the advocacy out there for healing centers, for addiction centers, we need that. Thank you.
I'd like to address this issue about the youth in our community and how we can help them heal. If we look around right now, we see adults all here. We look at all the services that are here right now, and all we see are adults. One of the things that we need to do is for our resource people to go door to door, knocking on doors, seeking those children out. Those children have no means of coming here. Our children have no voice. So in order for them to be heard, we need to go to them. So out of all this, we need to listen to our children. We need to go door to door and find them, seek them out, offer them that help. And we also need to have the resources available to help them, because they don't know what they need. We know they need help, but we don't know what they need. We have to start talking to them. We have to start listening to the youth in our community and what do they need. We can stand up here and speculate all we want, but unless we hear from them, we will never know. And the last thing I want to talk about is, and when I was doing my talk there, I kind of got emotional and I forgot a bunch of stuff. We talk about the women in our helping field. We talk about the women. Yes, we have a lot of women that are working out in the forest. We have a lot of women that are doing all this healing in our communities. We need warriors. We need the men in our community to also step up and be role models for the young men in our community. Every call we go on as a community response team, it's all women. It's all women. We need warriors. We need the young men and the adults, the youth in our community to step up and become warriors. We talk about that all the time, yet there's very, very few warriors in our native communities. So men, step up. Lead the kids in our community. Lead our young men in our community. Maybe tragedies like this wouldn't happen if our young men had positive role models in our community. So that is my message. We need warriors. We also need to go out and seek these young people that need this help. They're not going to come to us. We have to go to them. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you to the leadership, Chief Burns, to Chief Sanderson, and to Chief Head for the medallion. We had a discussion earlier, and there's a number of conversations that are going to take place. As you can see, there are some asks that are being put forward by this community. They're being supported by the regional chief and council. They're being supported by the provincial chief and council, and the province has a role to play in those asks. And so I had committed that most certainly the province is going to come back to the community, going to engage with our Indigenous leadership at the regional level, at the provincial level, and coordinating and collaborating, as there's other levels of government that need to be part of this conversation as well. The federal government most notably, yes, but the provincial government does have a role to play in coordinating and collaborating. For instance, over the last number of days, there has been a number of mental health supports that have been provided to not just James Smith and Weldon, but the surrounding region. There's 250 provincial mental health workers in the northeastern part of this province. PA Grand Council has a number of mental health workers as well, as does the FSIN, and what we have done is collaborated and worked together to ensure that we're providing those services to anyone that might need them. What we had committed to is to ensure that we are taking that type of a collaboration effort forward with some of the initiatives that are being raised by first of all, the chiefs of the tri-communities here, but also supported by the regional chief and supported by the provincial chiefs.
saying they need immediate help for more addiction services and mental health. How much money is the province of Saskatchewan going to put up now for mental health, not just temporary help to come in at the time of crisis, but how much long-term stable funding will you increase for mental health and addictions in Saskatchewan?
Our long-term funding, provincial funding across the province for mental health and addictions is about $500 million a year today. That is an area of government that has increased to 5, 10, and 15% increases over the last number of years. I think you can look to those kinds of numbers as we look into the future as well. There's other opportunities for us as well to collaborate with First Nations communities, as I had a discussion with a couple of leaders here today on bringing the federal government into this conversation as well, and supporting initiatives that are being put forward by First Nations communities, whether it be on a regional basis or provincial basis or community by community, where there's federal funding that is flowing, there's ultimately provincial funding that is flowing, and ensuring that all of those services are being coordinated across the province, whether it be an Indigenous community or otherwise, so that we have those supports available for all Saskatchewan residents. And so the current funding level is in the range of about $500 million a year. It's experienced significant increases over the course of the last number of years. But as I always say, mental health and all too often subsequent addictions are a conversation that we are having much more today than we did 5 years ago, and that conversation is going to intensify in the years ahead. Part of that investment is going into shifting, not replacing, but shifting the focus of our addictions beds that we have here in the province. As you note, this last budget introduced a commitment to fund 150 intensive addictions beds for opioids, for crystal meth, for far beyond the drug and alcohol addictions programs that we have had over the course of the last number of years. As we look to the future, that number is going to continue to grow, and where there are opportunities for partnerships with communities on a regional basis, whether they be an Indigenous leadership or whether they be otherwise, we most certainly are looking for those partnerships, like we have in Estevan, like we are looking at in Saskatoon. And I think, in fairness, it's time for us to look at placing some of those beds in partnership with the communities throughout the northern part of our province.
Chief Wally Burns or for someone from the FSIN. Yesterday, we saw that the first GoFundMe was set up by the SEC for a specific family of the victims. Should we be expecting some more GoFundMe for people who would like to help but cannot come on site to provide help to the community?
So a media release will be going out in about an hour or so, and there's information on a new trust fund, and there will be email address.
All GoFundMe pages. All GoFundMe pages are all shut down immediately. There's a trust being developed through RBC.
This is the email right there.
So the email that we just got was in elaboration of the GoFundMe page is, like I said, is shut down. This trust is going to be developed through the community with community members, and this fund will be going towards addictions and awareness, family members, helping with sources of looking at resources. So I think to answer your question on that, like I said, it's everything is shut down. All these pop up from different areas and organizations that shouldn't be. This is not a money grab. This is reality, and this money goes to the community members that are in need, especially right now. We are hurting, they are hurting, so please don't take any effort to use us just for money. The money should be going to the administration, for our people, for the therapists, for long-term healing. So with that, thank you.